Welcome to the Wake Up Call podcast. I'm your host, Melinda Van Fleet.
And I'm Ryan Van Fleet.
Yes, and we haven't jumped on the mic in a few weeks.
Yeah, it's been a while, hasn't it?
I know you've been busy.
Yep, been busy.
Had some podcasts of your own on the Good Karma Sportfishing podcast.
Yeah, I actually did an interview podcast.
Yes, you've had two. Do you realize you've actually had two interview podcasts in a row?
I have. I've had two interview podcasts, so a little different for me. So, but it's I'm just getting used to it.
And I think that's important because it actually segues into a great point that I want to make in regards to our topic today, which is talking about AI, is relationships and being authentic and the energy behind that versus just doing things that are AI driven.
Yeah, no, I think it's very important to talk about this subject.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So yesterday, I'm gonna share this. You have been a user of AI, and I have too, since 2021. And how we got started with AI before ChatGPT came out was I took Adam Enfroy's blogging course during Christmas of 2021. While Ryan was working, I took his course and basically then gave Ryan the highlights, the Cliff Notes for Dummies of how to blog, and he ran and took it from there. And we have never ever used AI for content in terms of writing a blog, in terms of creating a post or creating content in comments, but we sometimes use AI to help stir thoughts or think of things we haven't thought of or pepper in words. And that's a really great way to use AI.
It is. I like to use it for research.
Yep, you're saying exactly what I was missing, which is actually what I wanted you to say.
Yeah, more so than anything else, it's research. I like to use it to help find spelling errors. It also is a good way to for myself and for people that like to learn about the weather. All that stuff pulls from some really good source material. So, and the journey of AI, started years and years and years ago. So it pulls from a lot of different scientific papers and all that good stuff. So it really helps in that area as far as for me, I'm a weather nut, so it helps me learn about the weather.
Yeah, and it helps you research for the different podcasts and conversations and different things that you have going on in your business.
Yeah,
on a daily.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It helps make things go a little faster. Then it's just the day-to-day stuff helps it move through. So I can see why it's replacing jobs. I can see why in some areas.
Yeah, I can see why.
Yeah, especially in the world of legal. That kind of thing. You got people that just do research. Well, now AI does a lot of that. So I can see that kind of stuff. It's just the world that we live in, and we have to learn to embrace it because it's not going to go anywhere.
No, it's not. It's here to stay. But I think what's been taught out there, which is another reason why I wanted to do this podcast, is a very limited point of view about AI. And I know a lot of coaches that sell their formula, let's say their format, their blueprint on how to use AI to create their content. And that is fine, I guess, if you want to do that. I certainly don't. But that's just such a small piece of what you can use AI for.
Yes.
That's such a small piece. And honestly, it's probably the worst of the pieces that you can use AI for versus learning how to use it for research to prepare for something. Or for, I use AI sometimes, like if I was writing a testimonial for someone and I was just getting a little twisted in my mind and overthinking. So I spoke first and then I didn't like anything that the AI said, but it got my brain to unwire itself. It just got it to jog and move. And if you follow me on TikTok, I talk a lot about a certain series of thesauruses that I use that is an amazing collection of thesauruses. If you follow me on TikTok, you'll see them. But anywho, I don't ever fully copy anything word for word. It just makes my mind move in a different direction.
Yeah.
It just makes my mind move in a different direction. I think AI does that. It makes your mind if you use it correctly and you're not using it to like copy something word for word, it can just make your mind like move in a different direction and be a little more creative.
Right. That's exactly right.
It shows you like a different way to look at something. So some words I wrote down that I think are really important is to be balanced when you use AI, right?
Very important. You can't rely on it. And also too, it makes a lot of mistakes too. So you have to be very cautious about like and what you're using it for as well. So you have to like triple check work. You cannot just rely on it. You cannot, because it does make like a lot of mistakes actually. So when it comes to technical stuff.
Yeah, and humans are who put the information in people.
I remember when they were hiring. I mean, years ago, they were hiring people.
They still are. There's a guy that sits by me at the library. And he works for an AI company.
Yep. All they do is
corrects things.
All they do is just input data. That's it.
Yeah. Yep.
And then it pulls from it, and it turns from it, and then it takes it's one thing that too is that it takes a long time to train your AI, and a lot of people don't realize this. You just can't get on it, and it takes a long time for the AI to learn you. And that's one little nugget that you have to realize that's what that's all about.
Yeah, that is so true. Like I could ask, what was I asking? Oh my gosh, I was just doing this. Oh, I'm working on my project for Master Gardener, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to ask Gemini the things I need to know about butterflies, and then the things I need to know about chakras, because what I'm doing is a project that combines a butterfly garden and chakras. It's a very creative idea that came to me. So that was delivered by God. And I was like, oh, that's such a cool idea. And then I use AI to kind of formulate, like I put in there what I kind of wanted to say, but I wanted it to sound a little better. And then I had to tell AI like 3 times. I had to tell Gemini, nope, make it a little this, make it a little that, until it got a little bit better, but I still fine-tuned it for what I finally wanted to say. So I didn't just take it word for word.
Yeah, no,
and
I
still had to direct it with what I wanted.
Right, that's it too. You have to it takes a long time. So I tell people, if you want to really learn how to use it, you have to start now, because honestly, it takes a long time.
Yeah. It's not just like an easy let's just pop it in and cut and paste it. And those are the people that are doing that. That's just so obvious now.
Right.
That's just so obvious. If you're in sales and that's what you're doing, please stop.
Yeah, never use it like that. Never, because you're only hurting yourself, and then you become the machine, and then it just works against you.
Yep. Absolutely. Another cool thing to use AI with is to remix something. So if you're someone who, I've done this before with like having a blog on like a blogging site, and then I wanted to put it somewhere else and I want it to be a little different. So I cut and pasted several pieces of it and added a little bit more, a little differently, and then like remixed it. And that works pretty well. Not perfect. You still have to, like Ryan and I were just saying, you still have to tweak it and make it your own, but at least it gives you a little bit of a different twist and can help you there, especially if you're stuck and kind of in an overthinking, overwhelm situation.
Yeah, 100%.
So the remix, if your AI has remix, which most do, that's just a really great way to use it. So it's interesting that a lot of this is leading to the importance of doing more things live, having podcasts again, having videos again that are you, whether it's on Instagram or Facebook or YouTube or TikTok or LinkedIn. Having content that shares more of your story is crucial, because I look at so many other coaches who never share one personal story, and I'm just like, I question it. I that is the first thing my brain thinks of is this created with AI? Because there's nothing that's unique about what they shared. It's not that the content's bad, because honestly, you're going to get good content with AI for the most part, except for what Ryan's saying. If it's technical, make sure you check it. But it makes my brain immediately think that you just put this through AI. I mean, there's several coaches that I follow on Instagram that I like them. I'm sure they're a great coach. And it's like, okay, you're not even showing up with a story or some type of twist. I feel like all your content has just been put through AI.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So for myself, my background is in science and writing technical papers through college, and then through what I did in work through my job. It was to write technical papers and write validation projects for pharmaceutical companies for several different projects in order to get them approved so they can get them manufactured. So that was a ton of work. So I look at what so I have that background, and when I do research and write something technical, I still use formats from how I used to write in the pharmaceutical world to using. I wish I would have had AI back then. That would have really helped me with research. It's like instead I would be combing through hundreds and hundreds of white papers and stuff, looking for something to say, hey, this study shows that there's a good possibility that we can pass this statistically. So that's where I think AI is really useful. Mm-hmm. So it's making things just go a little smoother, making your life a little easier, so you're not spending hours and hours and hours digging through paperwork.
Yeah.
So
the one really great thing I'm going to tag on to that you are super good at, and I've gotten better at, and you've really challenged me to step up my game, is to sit and ask AI questions for ideas. So I've been doing that. I've been like, tell me some great call to actions that I could use when I'm posting on social media that are a little da-da-da-da-da, right? So you just kind of guide it to what you want. You may or may not, again, copy exactly it. I have not copied, to be honest, any of them. However, it's just given me some ideas. So it's saved time, to Ryan's point, in terms of like me not like going, oh, who's got good calls to action, or what coach does any posts that have ideas, because there's lots of coaches that do that. They do slide posts on Instagram with a lot of social media ideas, and I save all of those, but it takes more time to go through like digging in my Instagram saves than to just ask Gemini for some ideas.
Yeah.
I mean, funny. Really, sorry, Instagram coaches, but
I don't have
that's what's happening out there.
I have zero issues with AI. I grew up in a science fiction world myself, so I've been reading about AI and artificial intelligence since I was a kid. So I don't have a problem sitting down talking to the machine. I really don't. And it actually, for myself, it's like it's easier to talk to a machine about something, and sometimes to get advice, or I wouldn't say advice, but to get input. And that's kind of how I embraced it. I've always, I'm a science fiction guy, and like I said, for me, it's like, this is cool. I got my own little robot here I can talk to. So
yeah, no, it's good. And then I think the other thing that I really want to get across for people out there is it's super important in that to get across the value that you bring in terms of what you do. If you're using AI in your content, you still have to share what your value is, right? Because AI doesn't really do that.
No.
It doesn't.
No.
So you have to be conscious of that and go, okay, this is some great content. Now I also have to add in what I do.
I think it's funny, I think about people that are using AI now, and I think about what happened last year during the lobster season, where people were just like, oh, I'm just going to run through AI and make a post that it's lobster season this weekend, 2-day weekend, and AI put it out, but the business owners were in such a hurry, or whoever they hired to do the content didn't double check against the law, and they just relied on ChatGPT, and it turned out that there was no mini season opening 2-day opener. Everybody showed up here and it was against the law to go because the content creators didn't bother to check against the actual law. Those are the type of the mistakes that can be made in ChatGPT, any other, like all that stuff. So you have to be very cautious when you're writing.
Mm-hmm.
You have to be. And if you are like, if you think it sounds good and you're just trying to crank it out, that's where you're going to get into trouble.
Yeah, yeah. And I started noticing with Google a couple years ago that Google slants their definition of words. So again, this is all driven by people behind the scenes. So you have to be mindful of what you're using. Use your own, decision making skills to discern if it's good information or not.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
I mean, it is really sad. It is very sad,
Mm-hmm.
but that's the world we live in. And then people think, oh, this is a definition and this is what this is. And you take that for truth, but it's still coming from a human. So I don't even know where you thought it was coming from, like some spirit in the sky. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
really,
exactly.
think about it. Where do you really think that AI is a spirit in the sky? No, it came from a human in the white papers and then data entry. And like I said, there's a guy at the library who I haven't seen him in a while, but he has a PhD. He's not just a average person. It sounds like he is someone who has credentials, let's say, more than myself, as a baseline in terms of education for what he is helping with AI. And he works for an AI company and they give him things to proofread from technical papers, and that is what he does. He looks for mistakes. He looks for mistakes from his knowledge, but it's still from his knowledge. So I don't know if he thinks that shade of blue is a certain shade of blue. Well, then that's going to be the shade of blue that gets put in, right?
Yeah.
It's kind of wild.
Yeah.
Kind of wild. So be careful what you're taking as truth, right? Be careful what you're taking as truth. And I think it's just going to be such an interesting thing on social media over the summer. I was following someone on YouTube, and after about 3 different videos, I showed Ryan. It was a woman, and she has a foreign accent. She wears a little hat and she talks about consciousness, which is what I speak about as well. And at the time I was doing a lot of videos about expanding your consciousness and intuition. I've segued more into sales, but at the time, so I was kind of like running parallel to her in terms of just a niche. And so she was in my feed and I was watching her. And after about 3 videos, I showed Ryan, I said, I think this woman is AI. I think she is. And this was the start of all of these like creators, let's call them, that are now also on Instagram and likely on other platforms too, where someone has literally taken an AI caricature and then you get all the content through AI and you just keep pumping it out, pump it out. And you can tell it's AI because the person's movements are limited and they change the backgrounds, they put them in different places, and the way they speak isn't fully natural. It sounds like too good almost and doesn't have any breaks and let's say O's and sums or anything like that. It's just a very unnatural way when you're conscious to it, right? So if you first stumble upon it, you're like, oh, this is really awesome. But after like 3 videos, you're like, oh, wait a second. This is a little too fabricated. And that's a big deal too.
Yeah, it's huge.
Yeah. And I like some of these people. It's not that I don't, because I do think the content's great. But if you're making a buying decision of who you're going to work with as a coach, as a mentor, as a consultant, for anything like that, or you're trying to make a buying decision, you're obviously not going to buy from them. I would hope not, right? You're buying from a robot.
Yeah,
right?
Exactly.
So it gives you, my point here is actually that it gives you as an entrepreneur, a coach, a business owner, a business professional, like the most amazing amount of blue ocean now to show up as your authentic self. And that is not easy. So I'm going to just say, if any of you out there are in that boat where you're trying to navigate the online space and you're interested in working with me one-on-one, this is a one-on-one conversation. Check out my website, my Work Together page. That's why I wanted to create this podcast, was to have this aha moment about AI and what's happening out there, and share with you that, we have this amazing opportunity to now take advantage of Whitespace, of space that will make you look different because you're actually a human. And humans hire humans. Humans hire humans. Now, some people may be addicted to an AI app for therapy, or, some people are choosing to have AI boyfriends or girlfriends or whatever, but let's pretend you're not. Let's pretend you are a person who, let's assume actually, not just pretend, but let's assume you are a person who wants to work with an actual human. Then let me know if you are interested in terms of either reaching out or just going to my Work Together page on melindavanfleet.com, because it's not easy for everyone to show up authentically, to show up with authority, to show up with believability, to show up with content ideas that make sense for your business, and all the things that are encompassed in that. So, and that is typically what's holding people back. And you may think AI is your savior, and that is just not true. That is not true. You have to learn to share stories. You have to feel comfortable sharing stories. You have to understand what stories to share that are in relation to your business and how you can help others. And there's a lot packed into that. And I see a lot of people really stuck in that. And they just go around saying, I hate social media. I hate social media. Well, if you're hating on social media and you're trying to be an online entrepreneur, that's not going to help you. I'm going to be really straight up. That is not going to help you. And that is how I started my business way back when in 2019, was hating social media, hating the sound of my voice, hating how I looked in pictures. And a lot of that was coding that I had to work through, which I did. And that is how I would help someone else too, is really one-on-one and figuring that out and creating the best type of plan that works for you, where you don't feel like you have to hustle. I know no one likes that hustle word, but it's more about the energetics behind it, so you feel comfortable showing up online and you can grow your business.
Yep, that's it.
And that's what we have done with Good Karma Sportfishing educational programs. That's what I have done too. And I would love to help you if you are in that same place and you wish to take advantage of this amazing opportunity we have to use AI to help support your business, and also use the fact that we have a lot of white space.
That's right.
So anything else you want to add, Captain Ryan?
Nope, I think that's it. I think we covered it all.
Yeah, awesome. We might have a part 2 as more AI things bubble up, but I hope you like this episode. You can find Captain Ryan at...
And you can find me at goodkarmasportfishing.com is my website. My Instagram is goodkarmasportfishing_FL_keys.
And I am melindavanfleet.com, and my Instagram is melinda_vanfleet. So until next time, I'm going to have Ryan sign it off.
Yep. And remember, anytime you're fishing, it is all good.
Thanks for being here.